Alrighty, so um, welcome to our very short and not too much in-depth presentation on the renaturalization of the Emscher River. Uh, I was teasing my fellow German town twinners here with this English term. Um, yeah, so let's get going. Let's get going. I'm Ori Atana, um, chair of POM, Partnerschaft Oberhausen Middlesbrough, and with me today are Martin Bechberger, fellow friend and networker from Oberhausen, and board member Johnny Viajalita. He's a bit of a local VIP here. Very engaged guy, very active, and he was with us in Middlesbrough back in 2017. And so let's do this. I think we have about 20 minutes, so this should work. Um, First of all, I would like to point out the POM presence, online presence. POM obviously being Partnerschaft Oberhausen Middlesbrough. We date back to, well, originally we go back to the 50s. Soon after World War II, the student exchange started, which was part of peace politics. And that student exchange was so good that 20 years later it turned official. So in 74, Middlesbrough, in fact, Mayor Walter Ferrier made it official, and so did we. And around 1979, our society was founded. Sorry that my slides don't quite fit in here in big blue button as they do on Google and Microsoft, but I hope you can still, see enough. I put in those QR codes just in case you want to, do a quick scan, since I'm not sure what happens with these recordings afterwards. In any way, if you check the chat, I put together, I think, 11 videos, just in case we have enormous and creepy issues we have had so far. So I put a YouTube list together. Anyway, so we are POM, and we are supported by these guys here, EGLV, the Emscher Genossenschaft and Lippeverband. They are the people who are pretty much in charge of coordinating, financing, and monitoring everything that happens with the renaturalization of the Emscher. And they are really active in the whole area, that is all the way from Dortmund to Duisburg. That area I will get to in a few. Right? And here it is. So this red marked area is what I will be talking about. This is the Ruhrgebiet, spanning from Dortmund to Duisburg, like I said. It used to be a rather swampy and little populated region until the 1740s or 50s, when ore and coal were found in Oberhausen. Which is why this place, the city, calls itself the cradle of the Ruhr industry. And that's where the heavy industry age began here. And for about 200 years, it would grow and just keep evolving to the point where you know even the German emperor would not take position without visiting this region, and which is where his cannons came from. All right. However, in the 1960s, the decline began. So the way it is here is that the resources, which used to be easy to mine, eventually were too deep to mine. So the risk was too high, and most of all, the costs were too high. So they started closing the mines and started reorientating the massive population and former massive industry towards something new. Um, and one of the ideas was this sustainability narrative, which I would argue has worked fairly well for the most part. For example, if you look at the Centro, which was built by the British Healy company, the Centro used to be a massive iron factory or steel factory. Today it is, I think, Europe's biggest shopping center. Um, Mind you, it doesn't have the number of jobs that used to be there, and it doesn't bring in as many taxes to the city, but it's something. I think you guys know quite well how it is or what it means when you lose this former heavy industry, as I've seen in Middlesbrough. So this is what we're talking about. Um, and this actually, I hope you can see my mouse, my pointer, my red pointer. In the east of Dortmund is where the Emscher has its source, and it goes all the way truly across the whole region, the major cities, till finding the Rhine River. Here, obviously, in Oberhausen, it forks, but it also forks in other places too, which you can't see here. Um, right. And this is the place where I was actually just this weekend. It's called Holzwickede, a place near Dortmund. And as you can tell, this water is not exactly the cleanest that you'll ever find. That's the Emscher for you. Not too many years ago, there even were signs all the way along the Emscher saying that if you fall into this water, chances are that you'll die, which was very true. However, in the past, say, 5 to 10 years, that has changed greatly. So by now, it's actually a place where you even find fish and where some people swim. I will never do that in the years to come, but some people are brave enough to do that. And this is what I would say is the typical nature of the Emscher. So while it is being regreened or renaturalized, it still is very much a canal. On the left, you have the Rhein Canal, and on the right, you find the Emscher. And this is the typical image of the Emschers. They have this bed, which used to be a cement bed from like 100 years ago, that is now turned green. And I guess part of the renaturalization or the real deal was this here. So the effort to try and make the Emscher natural again obviously would mean that the sewer that it was turned into had to go or had to be solved in a different way. And the best idea, or the idea that made the race, was taking the sewer or the wastewater and canaling or canalizing it directly under the Emscher. So the ground part, the open part, which you can see, would be the natural water, or almost natural water, this here. And under it, almost exactly under it, you find these tubes, uh, which obviously take the sewage water for about a million people or 1.8 million people. And that's how the renaturalization of the Emscher was supposed to work, and so far does work. Despite all the challenges, it actually is a project which is on time, which did not explode in its costs, financially stable, and again on schedule, which doesn't happen very often, to be honest. um, this is the old Emscher, so it used to be just like any other river, curvy with natural lines, and was just a water source to the locals. It is one of the rivers which has recurring floods. I think the most famous one is the Nile, which has that. However, once the industry started growing, and it grew fairly fast and fairly big, it was a very welcome utility for the big companies and for the residents to use or abuse it as you wish. And this picture, I think, tells a bit of a story. Um, Basically, the Emscher had become what the Americans call a dump. So whatever trash there was or garbage, dirty water, chemicals, you name it, it all ended up in the Emscher. Um, and it was so long and so much that eventually the whole area became toxic. For example, the center that I mentioned, before being built, they had to carve out earth and replace that ground with other earth. Otherwise, they would not get the allowance to construct anything because the ground was too toxic. So that's how bad things had gotten. However, voila, this is the new or new-ish Emscher. Again, you see sort of curvy lines. Uh, Supposedly this is natural flow. Again, I can't prove this. I'm not too much of an expert. Thanks, Kate. I hope I'm coming over well and you guys can see me and everything. I'm just going here, and I hope this is not too long or too short. And by all means, if you want to ask something or just give feedback, be it text or chat or whatever, hammer away. Please don't hesitate. Um, yeah. So this is the Emscher as it looks today in parts. Again, some parts are this bed which you saw, V-shaped bed, and others are like you see here, fairly natural with a natural riverbed. We call it bed. I think you guys call it river bank. So I have like 10 minutes. Is that right, Louise? Okay, that's just right, I think. All right. Um, Now, why am I selecting this topic and this river? Because it is such a paramount project. So the Emscher used to be, I think, the longest or biggest or most polluted open sewer in the world. And this region has been hit rather hard by the falling or the decline of the heavy industry. Prides itself a lot with having managed this to bring back nature into the Ruhrgebiet. And it's also part of evolving the local identity. So really, before the industry, there was not much going on here. I think you had the Westphalian Peace Treaty, and that's probably it. Few people living here. Again, not much going on. And then you have people coming in from all over the country and Europe, and this kind of melting pot identity emerging. Then again, that identity got hurt as the industry declined, and people were looking for, I guess, something new. So the idea was to say, well, yes, we are successors of the mining people. However, we look forward and we embrace the new age, the green age, the service sector, and so on and so forth. And the Emscher is very much the symbol of that, moving on, as you guys say in Middlesbrough. Um, However, this project did cause some controversy because, on the one hand, you had one nature camp saying, leave it as it is, don't interfere. On the other side, you had, I guess, another nature camp saying, well, we should interfere, we should install plants and animals. And that debate is still going on, really. Myself, I don't know who's right, who's wrong. I'm not sure it really matters sometimes. Either way, this place is monitored and controlled constantly. Once because it's so pristine and precious, and because it's essential, literally essential, because the Ruhrgebiet is full of pumps which pump the water out of this region. Otherwise, at least half of it would be actually flooded or underwater. Um, so this is what we call the permanent consequences of the Ruhr industry. That is, like in Tolkien's world, the guy's digging too deep and hitting water, and then here you are. Okay. If you want to make things green, you have to actually make them green. And this is what has happened along the Emscher. On the top right, which now is too small, unfortunately, you see those bike lanes or routes This region is or has become full of them, fortunately. Um, However, this was just the first step. So the second step will be actual bike highways, and by highway I mean very much a highway like the autobahn, like you would expect one to be, but for bicycles. Most of them are still in the planning. I think 2 or 3 are already being built. Good thing that is. But also along the Emscher, you find parks, be it nature, family parks or parks in general. You find attractions, a lot of art, a lot of culture. For example, the Palace of Oberhausen, where I used to work, is one of them. The center is near the Emscher, so everything from shopping and art and you name it, uh, there to accompany it, go along with it. And of course, local businesses, which shouldn't be missing. And that is it for me. These are some sources in case anyone cares or wants to check out. Again, fortunately, the EGLD website is English. So whatever you want to read or check yourself, you can go ahead. I think this should be it for me because I don't want to, push you guys too much. Um, and again, another shameless plug. We are POM. We are looking to keep this, gift that keeps on giving that we got from you guys back in the 50s. And thanks to Mark Fishpool, uh, we're very much in touch and in constant contact with you guys. In fact, we were expecting an intern from Middlesbrough just before COVID hit, but we'll still get that done whenever the world becomes halfway normal again. Timothy, yes. I mean, myself, I still can't believe why people would visit a former industrial region, but yes, we have millions of tourists, both national and international, who come here and who are amazed about what we have done, but they also have something to see. So if you look at this on the right lower side, that building there, that's the gasometer, which used to pump air to the local steel works. Today, it's an art gallery. Not only has it been transformed in a marvelous way, it actually sustains itself financially. So that thing makes millions. It pays for itself. It doesn't need public money, and it's one of the success stories along the Emscher, together with the Emscher. Thanks, Mike. Great to see you too. You guys be well, and I very much look forward to seeing you guys again. So, Timothy, back to you. Is this working out in the form? Timothy, we hardly have any more mines here or steelworks. I mean, you probably read this in Britain too. ThyssenKrupp, which used to be the mother of steel companies, is in severe danger. They were about to get swallowed, I think, by some Indian company. The mines have been mostly closed. I think just 2 years ago, the last mine shut down with all the all the pomp. Even the president was there, and by now, for once, people don't want heavy industry, and on the other side, you have this growing green economy, which, by far does not compare to what we used to have, but it's something. So, of course, we have unemployment, we have all the issues that you have in the Northeast, but making the best out of it, simply because we have no choice. Jeremy, animals. Honestly, so far it's only fish. In the Emscher itself, it's only fish. However, we have in some parts foxes returning, foxes and wolves. So I don't know where they came from or how that works, but we have foxes and wolves again after probably 200 years in this region. Um, Again, in the water itself, it's probably apart from bacteria, only fish, and yeah, that's it. Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that or read that, Timothy. We sure enjoyed it, despite a week of again almost creepy challenges here. We did it. Thanks for being here. So take it away. See you around, or we'll stay in touch, that's for sure. And thanks for being here.